Hi everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the first episode of Real Talk with Adriana. I have with me today David Basil with Elevated Home Inspections. He's a local inspector in Morgan County. So I asked Dave to come on today because I know it's very hard to pick an inspector out of, a line that or a list that we might give you as realtors. So this will allow you guys to get to know David a little bit more and see if he's the right inspector for your property. So thank you very much, David, for being here. I appreciate you taking time out of your day.
You bet. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So a couple questions. So how long have you been doing inspections and what made you get into it?
Okay. I have been doing inspections since 2016. I started in early 2015 getting educated, classes, getting certified, but actually started inspecting homes 2016. What made me want to do home inspections? A couple things. One was I've bought and sold several houses, and I've been there for the inspections, and I didn't really see value. They were in and out in no time, and I thought, hey, I could do something like that. I could bring some real value to the home buyer. So that is why I got into home inspections. Plus, my wife and I, we have 3 boys, and so being your own boss really helps with scheduling and things like that. So,
yeah. And that leads me to my next question. What kind of past experience do you have that has helped you be a better inspector, you think?
I was a project manager for a commercial construction company for about 15 years. And so that helped out a ton. Being in the Army, having that background, integrity, honesty, but more so the tenacity, I guess you could say, to never give up. So when I'm in an attic and I can't get across to something or something like that, it's the feeling like what's behind there. So I'm always trying to to get to that point where nothing is left uncovered and stuff like that. So that's always a goal of mine, and I think the Army has helped with that. The other thing that's really helped me be what I think is a good home inspector is I've bought and sold homes, so I understand the anxiety that comes with that, both on the seller side and on the buyer side. So I understand that, and I try to minimize that as much as I can as a home inspector, and have everybody on the same page. So I think that kind of experience has helped me quite a bit.
And I think you talked a little bit about my next question. So when you get ready to do an inspection, what philosophy do you have going into your inspection process?
My philosophy is do right by your customer. One, they're paying me a lot of money to inspect their potential new home, but 2, they're about to shell out thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on what potentially could be their forever home. And by doing right by them, that to me means providing them with just as much information as I possibly can about not only the adverse conditions that we find, but the good conditions too. Taking things into consideration, the age of the home, stuff like that. It's important for me to give them all the information and have them make an educated decision on whether they would like to proceed or or move on. So that's important to me.
Perfect. That's, I think, a great philosophy to have.
Thanks, appreciate that.
You want to be able to have a clean conscience, right?
You bet. Definitely. And we talked a little bit before. This is a small community,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to, look them in the eye when I see them out and about. Whether it be at the grocery store or somewhere out in the community, and know that I try to build a relationship, with my customers, and I think that's important, especially in a close-knit community like we have here.
So next question is, what advice would you give potential buyers and potential sellers about home inspections?
My advice for potential buyers would be to do your homework. There are a lot of different inspection companies out there that offer a lot of different services, different levels of services. Taking your real estate professional's referral is great, but also do a little more research on the side and see if that inspector or that inspection company matches your taste, or call them up, talk to them, look at their sample reports, look at their social media presence. Do they have a lot of reviews? Some of those things we as inspectors can control, things on our website and stuff like that, but Google, third-party apps and stuff like that, we can't control what people say
Right.
about us. So do your homework, and when you find somebody that you feel like you can trust, go with that person, and hopefully everything will work out. I mean, it's a very stressful process, and I personally try and remove some of that stress for my customers as buyers. As far as sellers go, first breathe, right?
Right.
Breathe, and you've lived in a house for however many years. There is a personal, you've got sweat equity, you've got personal interest in that house, and what I would suggest is to think of it more as a business transaction. Try and take the emotion out of it.
Mm-hmm.
As a home inspector, I'm not going there to tear your house apart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to nitpick and call out every single thing that I think my buyer would want to get a fee for, or a discount for. So I would say take the emotion out of it, and just know that it is a business transaction. I try and what I try and do personally is send the listing agent a list of guides that will help them and the customer, or in their client, prepare for the home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of gives them an outline of what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
and even goes as far as to point out things that, moving things in front of the electrical panel, or if your attic access is in your closet, maybe moving your clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take precautions to cover your stuff as much as I can, but it would be so much easier for those kind of things. So I try and remove that added layer of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
from sellers. And so do your homework, breathe, relax. It's a stressful process, but I think when you deal with consummate professionals, real estate professionals, professional home inspectors, they all have a certain way of doing things that will hopefully, maybe not eliminate, but minimize that stress.
Definitely. And I think that's great advice, because I think oftentimes sellers, especially, that's their scary time, is the inspection. They think, are they going to call this out? Are they going to think that my house is falling apart? Are they going to tell them to not buy my house? Which, is scary for a lot of sellers, especially if they have, say, minor things that they haven't worked on. They think, oh my God, this is going to make them not want to buy the house, just because they're freaking themselves out, I think.
You bet. And the seller can, ask who's inspecting the house, what company's
Mm-hmm.
inspecting the house, and do some research on them. And I try to be thorough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also take into consideration the age of the home, and when things were built, and today's generally accepted practices. So, and I also try to deliver the information to my customer in an unbiased manner, but also in a way that's not alarming.
Right.
Houses, I think, are a lot like people.
Mm-hmm.
We all have issues.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We all have issues, and the older we get, the more issues we have. But everything can be fixed, repaired, replaced with money and with time. And if you absolutely positively love a house, and you've gone through the process of dragging your real estate professional from town to town to town and from street to street to street, and you find one that you love, and the inspection report comes back, and there are some items that are of concern. They're fixable. So I try and make sure that my customer knows that with a little time, a little money, everything can be right.
So thank you so much for telling me about your philosophy and great
Appreciate
advice
that.
for potential buyers and sellers out there. So a couple fun questions that kind of help people get to know you a little bit more on a personal level, so you can relax for these ones. So what is your favorite movie and why?
I was just talking to my wife about this. My favorite movie of all time is High Fidelity with John Cusack.
Okay.
It's a story about guy loses girl, guy gets things back into order, and then gets girl back. But what I love about it is he's constantly making lists, top 5 lists,
Okay.
for music, for love, for life, and I'm a list kind of guy. I love lists, right? So top 5, chores my wife makes me do, top 5 things, So I'm a list guy. So High Fidelity is my all-time favorite movie, and I don't think you can beat the Jack Black in that movie. His role is very, very fun. So High Fidelity for me.
Awesome. And who is your biggest inspiration? Like, who do you look up to the most?
Very easy question. Without a doubt, it's got to be my wife. She is the glue that binds our family together. Without her, we would be lost. And so I admire her, I look up to her, I respect her, I cherish her. And I think our 3 boys and myself are beyond lucky, beyond blessed. She's our rock, and I think I'll keep her. I like her. Yeah.
You guys have been married for how long?
We've been married since 2016. Well, we've been friends for almost 10 years. And I finally coaxed her into marrying me. Took a couple bribes and stuff like that. But it's been great. It's been great. And I love being married. I love having a family. And it's, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life is, or one of the hardest things is being in a relationship, because there's so much more than just you. And so she makes that easy, and I appreciate her for that.
That's awesome. I'm sure she's very happy to hear that.
Well, hopefully she'll watch, and that'll.
I'm sure she definitely will, and she'll probably maybe get you something nice for saying that.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Maybe cook you a nice romantic dinner or something.
Right. Fingers crossed.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Dave, thank you so much for coming in and again being on the podcast. I appreciate it. And anybody that's watching, if you would like more information about Dave and the services that he provides, or if you'd like to hire him as your inspector, I'll be sure to post all his contact information and have his social media links so you can check him out and perhaps schedule an appointment with him. So thank you very much for watching, everybody.
Thanks. Appreciate it.